Hello, I'm doing yet another new thing today, which is I'm going to be talking about some of the favorite videos that I have watched on YouTube during the month of November. So I don't know if this would ever become like a monthly thing. I'm not sure how it would fit into my video creation schedule, but as it turns out, what I've learned from doing the channel for a while now is that I also really enjoy talking about YouTube. I spend a ton of time on the platform. I'm pretty well familiar with different creators and different communities within YouTube, and I usually try to seek out new ones. So I figured I would try to, make a short list of some of the favorite videos I watched during the month. These are not necessarily videos that were released during this particular month, but yeah, just stuff that I happened to catch on to or happen to watch and that I really enjoyed and that I feel like bringing up and recommending to other people. And they could be absolutely anything. It's not all along a specific theme or anything like that. It's just stuff I came across. So let's just get right to it. The very first one is, you may have seen it if you dig into gaming YouTube quite a bit. You might already be familiar with the channel Food for Dogs, and Food for Dogs is a really fascinating channel. I have considered talking about the channel in more detail, but basically, there's an older woman named Britta in New Zealand, and she makes videos about games that she's into. She's done a bunch of unboxing videos for like special editions of different games. She's way into JRPGs, and unfortunately, I think it's easy to take a look at her channel and try to reduce it to like some kind of gimmick, like, oh, it's an older woman talking about video games. I personally can't think of any other channel that does that, but she's made it very clear in her work that it's as genuine as can be. She is just incredibly authentically into playing different games and talking about them with people. She doesn't run ads on the channel. She's not trying to swing deals and sponsorships and stuff. She's kind of an anti-YouTuber in one of the best ways possible, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, there has been a big question floating around ever since her videos have started to caught on, which is, how did this woman who's over the age of 60 get into gaming? We don't see that very often, and we certainly don't see people in that age group talking about games online, certainly not on YouTube all that much. This was it. This video that she did release, November 2nd, tells the tale, and it's a big one. It's over an hour long, but basically it tells this pretty intricate and fascinating story about how she and her husband happened to get into playing games. And it really was, without spoiling anything, it was a pretty crazy sequence of different events and circumstances that just sort of all coincided for them to even give games a chance. And it was a very slow process of trying to learn how to play them and everything, and learn what kind of genres were out there and what they happen to be interested in. It's fantastic. It really is just someone talking to camera for over an hour, but the storytelling's solid. It does, of course, like everything else on her channel, feel very genuine and honest.
Gosh, there was so much stuff there.
And just down to earth. I love it, and for some reason, I don't know, I mean, even after I got through the story the first time, I've rewatched this a bunch of times already, and it's doing very well. I think it's almost at 700,000 views. This is no small change video. This thing's really taken off. It's wonderful. It's a great time. I can rewatch it very easily. It's such the channel in general has such this wonderful calm tone that I just love inhabiting. And it's there. It's YouTube. It's free. Go check it out. Okay, next up we have a video called Gacha Games Not Even Once from Yakko CMN. Yakko's a pretty big gaming YouTuber, about 350,000 subscribers. That's a pretty big deal. But for some reason, I don't know, it took me a long time to find this channel, and I'm very glad I did. The sense of humor here and the editing is very much like Gen Z in my eyes, but that's okay. I mean, it works a lot of the time. It is very funny. It's a wonderful channel, great work going on here, some really fantastic editing in particular, and this video is, I think, at least the second video that Yakko did on Gacha Games, and it comes from a very interesting perspective because, as you might expect, this video highlights some of the incredibly negative aspects of Gacha Games and the economies they create for relatively small player bases to basically milk them for as much money as possible, and then if it stops working, they'll shut down the game, whatever. It's pretty sleazy in terms of like predatory monetization tactics, but Yakko talks about it. I'm sorry, I don't know the guy guy's real name. I'm just going by channel names. But anyway, this person says, hey, look, I have been into gacha games for a long, long time, and I've played a ton of them, and I've spent quite a bit of money on them. So, like, it's impressive to me, the idea that someone who was so deep in this world managed to step away from it, or just step back from it for a while, just long enough to say, look, we need to talk about some of the issues here that aren't really being discussed in the broader gaming community.
There's nothing wrong with developing attractive or powerful characters to keep your players interested, but spitting in their faces and hoping they'll stay addicted is another.
And that's true. Even Jim Sterling's work, I have not seen them delve into gacha games specifically. Maybe they did years and years ago. Yeah, there's sleazy stuff in FIFA, there's sleazy stuff from Activision games, all these things. But my goodness, gacha games and their monetization tactics are insane, and it's pretty awful. Anyways, this is like kind of an expose piece, sort of. It's also just a fun watch. It's just over 20 minutes long, episode of a TV show basically. But yeah, so fun, light on its feet, and there's some really wonderful clips of talking about like just trying to grapple with the weird evil that exists within certain companies that are just trying to milk their audiences for as much as possible. Cool video, great channel, recommend it. Goodbye. Okay, next one up is Super Derek RPGs, and the video is called Grandia HD Collection Impressions Nintendo Switch, part of a series called Experience Points. So Super Derek RPGs is a relatively small channel, not in comparison to my channel, it's a pretty big channel, but anyway, about 55k subscribers, and been around for a number of years now, I think, and I actually got to this channel through Food for Dogs, so that was sort of an interesting turn of events. But basically, yeah, mostly focused on RPGs, lots of JRPGs in the mix that Super Derek talks about.
Welcome back to Experience Points, a less formal, more laid-back sort of review format where I just talk about RPGs that I've been playing through.
And in particular, I just happened to be curious about the Grandia HD collection. Looked like fun, and this was a great video that touched on some key points that I wanted to hear about. If you're looking for one of Super Derek's more, I guess, popular videos that came out somewhat more recently, did a great video on how to defeat your backlog and just move through games that you want to finish. It's doing pretty well, and I think it's a wonderful reality check for those of us who end up with too many games, whether through subscription services or purchases or whatever. Good stuff. And yeah, just a nice, solid channel, consistent look to the videos. Presentation style is very nice, very cozy. I like it. Okay, next one. Okay, so this is a bit of a curveball. I have to start this off with a very shameful statement. Sometimes I actually really do like reaction videos, and I don't like to admit it because oftentimes it feels like a very low form of entertainment. Like, in order to make a reaction video, you're really not doing that much. I mean, outside of editing. Sitting and reacting to a piece of media does not really take a whole lot of skill. Nonetheless, sometimes it can be very interesting, especially when you have people doing reactions where they have something to say and they can comment on specific aspects of the work in an intelligent way that teaches you something about the work. That tends to be what I gravitate towards, and I eventually wound up on a channel called Mercurial Number 6, almost to 100,000 subscribers, so getting pretty big too. But this dude, he's in the UK somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he was right in London, and he's a music producer. I think he's mostly a rock producer. I don't know if he's done anything that I've listened to. He's done a bunch of reactions, especially over the last year or so, and he has a wonderful reaction to The Money Store, the debut full-length album from Death Grips. Just incredibly high energy. Like, if you compare this dude's reactions to just the average person looking at a movie trailer or something, like, it's he's going for it, and I really respect that. And this one in particular, I think it was supposedly, the first time he'd been encountering some Death Grips work, so he's mostly just responding to level of energy in the music and just the crazy techniques and the fact that it's really not lining up with contemporary trends in any real way. It's something you should just watch. I don't think I really need to the rants and stuff he gets into.
The Money Store. I mean, it's a beautiful film. Oh.
It's just wonderful. I don't know. It really helps that he's British too. I think this would be harder to pull off if it was just some American dude in like Tennessee. So this is Idiot Box episode 1. The channel is Turd Burglar 27, and that's not the creator. Idiot Box was an MTV show, I guess what, in the late 80s? This was a show that only ran for 6 episodes, and it was headed up by Alex Winter, who most people would probably know as being one of the leads in the Bill and Ted films, who is not Keanu Reeves. And it's just an insane, like, violent...
Please.
gonzo comedy sketch show that was originally interspersed with music videos, but the uploads basically just have the comedy sketches and that's about it. It's just completely insane, and I think all of the episodes are on YouTube in some form. There's never really been an official like DVD or Blu-ray release as far as I know, but yeah, if you're looking for crazy comedy that's just completely off the wall, here you go. Next up we have Cute Lamb Needs Attention. This is a cute animal video. That's the whole thing. It's less than a minute long. You're probably getting the idea from the edit that I have here right now, so I think we're ready to move on. Next we have a video game song called T16 Operation Battle Theme from Mega Man Battle Network. I guess this is from the first game. The battle themes from the second and third games are also very good. It's just fun, high energy video game music. I don't know what else. I don't think it's been released through Spotify or anything. So we're forced to listen to it here, and that's fine. It's all free. Okay, our next video is called 228. I don't know what that is. Keep your diesel locos rolling in 10 easy steps from a channel called Model Railroading, which is at about 23k subscribers. This is a guy who talks about how to maintain your diesel model locomotives. It's about half an hour long, and he goes into pretty serious depth about how to, maintain them, the inner mechanisms and everything. I don't do any model railroad stuff. That's not one of my hobbies right now. I do find it interesting, and this is a video I came across completely at random. I don't know why YouTube recommended it to me in the first place, but it's kind of neat. And this is a guy who's a little bit older. I don't know where he's based. It's very low-key, it's very calm, and there's something satisfying about looking at and fixing up, little mechanical and electronic devices. It's just kind of neat. That's all I have to say about that one. This one's a bit weird also. Not the video, but me bringing it up, I guess, because it's very new to me. But I was talking to a friend about some other stuff and YouTube shenanigans, all that nonsense, and he happened to bring up this one YouTube channel that specifically focuses on the skateboarding community and skateboarding brands, sponsorships, companies, competitions, all that kind of stuff, and just kind of digs into it and criticizes a lot of stuff within the community. The channel's called Gifted Hater. It's currently at about 28k subscribers. I wouldn't be surprised if it started to shoot up a lot more in the coming days. And this particular video, I picked almost at random. I watched a lot of this dude's videos over the last week or two. Had a lot of fun with most of them, but this one in particular is all about watching and discussing the Stallion video, which I think was a Supreme skate video. It's a skate video filmed by a supposedly famous and well-regarded skate filmer called Strobeck. I think his name's William Strobeck. I don't skate. I don't know anything about the skateboarding community. I am vaguely aware of some of the most famous names in skateboarding over the past few decades. That's about it. Diving into Gifted Hater's videos has been a pretty fascinating peek, I guess. It's certainly not a deep dive necessarily, but a fascinating peek into that world.
Is it a drippy fit? I don't know. I'll let you guys be the judge on this one. So I'm a little confused on what the situation is with this burning trash can.
And the people who inhabit it, what the current sort of trends are, how big a role fashion plays in the professional skateboarding world. And it probably goes without saying, but while watching this video, watching some dude critique a professional skateboarding video and looking at specific tricks and everything, I have no idea why some tricks are better than others. Like, I can kind of get a sense of when someone has executed something well, but other than that, I don't know what's considered stylish. I don't know what's considered like hacky by the skateboarding community.
I don't care how much weed he smokes every day. It doesn't fucking matter. If he can do this, Like, how easy did that look for him? How easy did that look?
So I basically just take everything this guy says at face value and assume that a lot of people agree with him, and he's been getting decent views on this stuff. Skateboarding community is pretty darn small, relatively speaking, and he's doing well. And outside of this video, he's done some interesting looks into some questionable business moves and brands within skateboarding, including the Barracks and Skate Mama, which is another situation. She's down in Long Beach. Anyway, a neat taste of the skateboarding world. And in fact, that brings us to our final video, which is another skate video called Welcome's Seance video. So, as you might have guessed, this is a pro skateboarding video from Welcome, which is apparently a skateboarding company. And it's released through Thrasher, the only recognizable name in skateboarding journalism, quote unquote. Not a part of this community, don't know anything about it. But certainly from a filmmaking perspective, it's pretty interesting to look at different skate videos and how they present themselves. There's always an overwhelming attempt to come off as cool and trying to do something sort of different while still conforming to a lot of the standards. Animation can seem very samey at times. The editing, I don't know enough about it to really judge whether it's successful or not. Anyway, long story short, this is just one of the many skate videos I watched recently that I actually enjoyed, even without knowing the people involved and without knowing how other people judge this one. The video itself was released in 2019. It's not a new one at all. But yeah, you know, as any skate video does, it introduces you to different skaters, and I'm out of the loop big time, so it shouldn't be too surprising to hear this, but I had never heard of Nora Vasconcelos. I've never heard her name pronounced, so I'm just trying here. She was the standout for me. I don't know. She has such a great screen presence, and I don't know, it was just fun, and it just seemed like one of the only skaters I've seen in any of these videos that you'd actually maybe want to talk to in real life.
Surf report, Dome are heights. Waves are good, like head, chest high. I know nobody's here.
Everyone else just seems like kind of a piece of or like, I don't know, uninteresting. Great stuff. The tricks, I don't know. Are they good? Are these good skate tricks? Please tell me. I'm assuming a lot of this was shot around LA, or at least Southern California, although I have not identified specific spots. So there you go. People try to shoot skate stuff on my street all the time, by the way. It's no good. We have this there's this step in front of the building. So at least 2 times a week. Almost constantly you'll hear people just going down the street and then somebody's there with a camera. And most of the time I hate it, but who knows, maybe I'll be a little bit nicer in the future. Is that it? I think we're about done. That's the list of some of my favorite YouTube videos that I watched in November of 2021, which was a month that happened, and now we're in the future, and that's probably a good thing. I guess these videos would be a good place for people to recommend stuff, or just to talk about some videos that they've been digging lately down in the comments. So go ahead and do that, and I'm out of here. I'm done. I'll see you later. Take care, and don't forget to buy eggs at the store if you're into that kind of thing. Thanks for stopping by.